And we're going to talk about the different types of people that you're going to be encountering. There are 4 different types of people in the world, and I call them the language of the land that they speak. They speak a specific language, each of these types. So you have the land of social, the land of driven, the land of helpful, and the land of factual. And each of these lands has a country of origin where they speak the language of that land. So the social tends to speak about being amazing a lot. That's their hot button. They're amazing, you're amazing, it's great, we're great, it's all great. You know people like this? Let me hear you, you amazing people. Woo! Yeah, I'm an amazing person too. And then the opposite of the land of amazing, the land of the social, is the land of the factual. I married someone from the land of the factual. They tend to actually marry because they're opposites and opposites attract. So from the land of the factual, it's all about being right. And I don't care that much about being right. Sometimes my husband will say, you know, you're right about that. And I'm like, well, you know what? I'd rather be amazing. But that's okay because I'm flexible and adaptable like Bob. So my husband's a builder. Would you rather have a builder who's factual and precise or someone who's amazing and social? I recommend the factual builder. So he was remodeling our home, and as he's remodeling it, I'm walking through saying, oh my gosh, this is amazing, it's so great, I love it. You know what he said? Yeah, I gotta go. And he would walk away, repel. So I thought, he's got a negative attitude. How did I marry a negative attitude guy? How did that work out? So I was upset, but then I started doing some research and I realized that he's just from a different land than I am. He's from the land of factual. So a few days later, I decided to walk in and say, factual speak. So I said, honey, you know this addition? It's exactly how I pictured it, the way the beams line up so perfectly. And you know what he said? And he says, look over here. He said, this beam is not level. It's eye level, not level. Here's the level. See for yourself. I didn't really care about the level. But I do care about my husband, and I like being married. And so sometimes you have to be very flexible and adaptable. I always say the first 22 years are the hardest, and then it's easy to be married. So you've got the language of the land, you've got the social, the driven, the helpful, the factual. We've talked about a few, but let's talk about more. The helpful type, my assistant Eileen is the helpful type. I hired one of each type so I could study them, and I told them that they were in a study. So I learned a lot about what they liked and what their hot buttons were and how to speak to them. So with Eileen, she offered me some coffee one morning, and I said, no thanks, I'm fine. Then she offered me some tea, and I said, I'm good. Then she offers me a tuna sandwich that she's gonna go run and get for me. So you know people like this? They will keep asking if you want something until you say yes. So finally I had to say yes to something to get her to stop asking. She is a very lovely person, and she's attracted to the driven people because they're opposites as well. The driven, oh yes, let's hear it for the driven people. The driven people actually are not very expressive, so you know who you are, and you weren't shouting, I know. But sometimes the social people think that they're driven people because they want to be driven people, and so they do a little woohoo. But you don't see very woohoos with the drivens. So the drivens are more about the win. Help me win or get out of my way. Talk is cheap. Get it done. I don't have time for this. These are the types of the driven types of people. My attorney is a driven person. And that's good because we had problems with the house that we were buying. And there were liens on it. And so I said, how are you doing with the liens? And he said, I'm bird dogging the situation. I'll get back to you soon. I thought, oh, we're bird dogging. What does that mean? So I looked it up. It means it's a hunt and a pursuit. So my husband said, well, how's the closing going? And I said, don't worry, honey, we're bird dogging it. And he said, what? Because that wasn't his language either. But we did get the house. He said, the attorney said he applied enough pressure so they should be crumbling any day now. So they kind of crush and crumble sometimes in that land. So if you just remember that there's social, ego, loyal, factual, social driven, helpful, factual, these are the people that you can actually be aware of so that you can speak their language. Have you ever walked by people and you heard them speaking a language, maybe Spanish, and you knew they were speaking Spanish because you were familiar? Well, I walk by people and I hear them speaking factual. You know, you're right about that. Well, it's not exactly right, but it's very close. These are factual people having a conversation. So there is a language for the land, and when you go to different lands, you'll see that there's a lot of languages out there. When I went to Greece, I didn't know how to speak any Greek. It was totally Greek to me. And so when I didn't know any words in Greece. And so I said to someone, well, how do I say something? Because when I buy something at the market, I just give them money and they give me the merchandise. And they said, oh, say Efgaristo. So then I bought something and I said, Efgaristo. Do you think that changed the communication? I built a bridge and it made a connection. And I heard the merchant say, Brocolo. He was so nice and so friendly when I knew one word. So even if you leave here and you only know one word of a different type, maybe instead of saying amazing, you say, you know, you're right about that. Or you've been so helpful. Or let's get it done. You can say the different words to the language of the different types, and this will help you to diffuse a tense situation. But it will also help you speak the language of the land, and that will build a connection so that you can have potentially difficult conversations with ease.